Hi guys and welcome to the channel. In this video I will be showing you guys how to power through your Space Marine armies quicker than you ever thought possible. See you in a minute. Hey folks, how are we doing? Steve here as per usual. If it is your first time here on the channel, please do consider clicking the subscribe button. We have lots of content in our back catalogue. Go and check all that out, and there's going to be loads of content. If you're interested in this video, it's because you like Space Marines, you like 40k, you're in for a treat. There's lots of stuff coming, battle reports, reviews, painting guides, anything you can think of. So do consider clicking the subscribe button. And if you do like this type of video, giving us a thumbs up really does help us with all those algorithms and all the gremlins in and around YouTube that work in a way that I cannot understand. But apparently it helps us out, so a thumbs up would be awesome. So what's this video about? I'm going to be showing you guys how to get through your Space Marine, specifically Ultramarine army, but you can alter the colour scheme and paint in exactly the same way for any chapter that you decide to do. The reason I'm doing Ultramarines, I did do an Ultramarine painting tutorial I think about 3 years ago on the channel. It's still there, you can still find it. It was in the days before I had better microphones and things like that, so do excuse the quality of the video. Games Workshop and Hachette, I think is how you pronounce it, are releasing a magazine for new players and older players and the like, because it does work out a pretty good value, but specifically aimed at getting new players involved in the game of 40k. It's a magazine you collect weekly. You can subscribe or you can just pick them up from your local store, and each week it slowly sort of introduces you to different parts of the game, what the game's about, the different phases of the game and how to play. It also has a lot of lore in there. It has painting guides and building guides. It's a really good magazine, and even though we haven't seen it yet, I'm confident in saying that because I was a collector of the Conquest magazine, which was the 8th edition version, and it was fantastic. The quality of the magazine itself is really good. You get binders to collect your magazines in the different segments, so you'll have a full segment of all the painting guides throughout the collection, a full segment of all the different custom scenarios, which is very, very cool, and then to learn how to play and so on and so forth. The lore stuff is really good. So this magazine looks like it's aimed around the Indomitus box set, which a lot of people struggled to get when it first was released. Games Workshop, should I say, had to go back and release more just to appease the fans of the game, and the quality and the value in the Indomitus box set probably has, it's unsurpassed. Let's just say that. I know myself, I got two. I started to play 40k back in 8th, and I was only just learning. I was learning how to play. I played a few games. We actually created some battle reports through the Conquest magazine. Again, you can check those out. And we really want to push 40k on the channel. I've got a lot of people who are 40k players who are interested in coming on board, getting involved in battle reports and the like. But this painting guide is basically, I think it's issue 2. You're going to get a sprue of Intercessors, the new Intercessors from the Indomitus box set. You get 3 Intercessors on a sprue. This painting guide is going to be me painting up the 3 Intercessors in an ultra quick, super fast batch painting manner to a pretty good tabletop standard. I'm very confident that we can pull this off, and you can do it with 3, you can do it with 6, you can do it with 9, you can do it with as many as you want. We're going to do it with 3 because there's 3 on the sprue and I have a sprue here. So I'm going to go away and get this sprue built, and then we're going to jump straight in. I've waffled enough, so let's jump straight into the actual tutorial itself. Please do let me know how you get on if you do follow it along. So I'll see you at the painting desk in a moment. So here's my 3 models all assembled. I've not gone off the guides here. I've mixed things up a bit with arms and legs and stuff. I want my miniatures all to look very different. I don't want identical poses, but that doesn't matter in this tutorial. These are the paints I'll be using: Steel Blue, Ultramarines Blue and Azure Blue. The Sky Blue there is just in case I want to do an edge highlight. It's highly unlikely I'm going to use it in this tutorial. I think I'm going to put it in there, but I think we're going to just use the other 3. I'll be priming the model with the Vallejo Surface Primer Panzer Grey. It's a nice dark colour. Thin it down first, get it through the airbrush. These primers are probably, for me personally, the best primers on the market. You get such a really, really nice texture to work off. Your paint on top of this goes on very, very smooth. It just is an all-round great primer. I've never had any problems with it. I'm that obsessed with it. I've got every colour primer that they do. and I don't think I'll ever use any other primer other than this. You can see it going on there, getting everywhere. Make sure that the whole model is covered. You don't have to get it on ultra thick, just as long as the whole model is covered. Straight in with the steel blue Vallejo Air. I really like this colour. Really deep dark blue. There is another dark blue. I've got a feeling it's, I can't remember the name of it. It's a really dark blue that Vallejo do, but this one for me, using this as the base coat, just makes the ultramarines blue really sort of pop. And it's just a really nice base for that colour. So we're getting all over. I hit it from around just below 90 degrees, so not directly below. I want to leave some of the Panzer Grey as shadows. Hit it from about 90 degrees and from above. And then after that, straight into a null oil wash. Now, the reason I give it a null oil wash is so that I don't have to pin wash it later. This is a cheat step. It doesn't have the effect or impact of a pin wash. It's nothing like that. A pin wash will always look superior, but it just adds another level of detail. Once the model's finished, you've got them areas, the little lines in the armour and things that just have a nice darker look to them, and it's a nice quick step. The longest part about this step is waiting for the wash to dry, but you can do that with a hairdryer. So next, I thin down my Ultramarines blue, get it in the airbrush, and I start hitting all the raised areas from above. Once I start hitting these areas from above with the Ultramarines blue, I'll then start working my way down the model. Now, using an airbrush takes a lot of skill, and don't think that you can start doing detailing with an airbrush straight off the bat, because you won't be able to. And to be totally honest, when you're painting a model this way, you don't need to. What you're doing is you're creating the illusion of highlights and shading. If you pick the model up and start looking at it closely, you will see areas where a highlight may be in a slightly wrong place, or there might not be shading where you want it. But this is the quickest way that you'll paint the model. From there, we're going into Azure Blue. Azure Blue over Ultramarines Blue is a fantastic highlight. You paint it on like this and it looks very stark, but trust me, have faith. As this paint dries, it looks absolutely stunning. This recipe of paint is a recipe that I've stuck to and I've used time and time again, and it's never ever failed me. So what we're doing here is we're not covering all the Ultramarines blue, we're just going over the top of it in a slightly lesser area, just to create that shine on the armour, and it just creates a really nice effect, especially because it's still matte. When these models are finished, if you want to make your armour shiny, by all means go over with a gloss coat, but you really don't need to. So again, we're making sure we're not hitting anything from below. We're kind of staying above the model, no lower than 90 degrees full on from the model from a horizontal point of view. And we're just picking out all the raised areas on it, and that's pretty much the armour done. So leather. Now, with the leather, I wanted to try out two different techniques. A technique that I've seen that, you know, I can't claim any onus for this. I've seen this on another YouTube video and I thought I'd give it a go. So I'm kind of roughly patching in all the leather areas with Wraithbone, Citadel Wraithbone. And I'm purposely doing it rough, trying to keep more paint on the raised areas to create a highlight. Now, it looks very odd at the moment, just straight over the blue, but what we're going to do from there, we're going to hit that with some snakebite leather contrast paint. And I've seen this done on another video, and this is an acid test for me. I've not actually tried it. This is the first time trying it. So I'm going to do two of the models like this, and I'm going to do one of the models my old school way that I've always done leather on my Ultramarines. So you can see I'm just going around making sure that I'm getting all the edges of the leather packs and just leaving a little bit of roughness in and around the flat surfaces. I'll then go in with the snakebite leather and just add, you know, like you do with contrast paint, you want to be careful that you only get paint on the areas that you want the paint. By saying that is what I mean, you don't want any contrast paint dripping over onto the armour or dropping off, you know, onto the backs of his feet or anything like that. So you want a liberal coat, but you want to be controlled when you put it on. It's very stark again when you first do it, but it turned out okay. This is the original way that I would do my leather. So I start off with a burnt umber Vallejo base coat. I'll get everything base coated, nice even flat coat of burnt umber, and then after that I'll go and I'll pick out some edge highlighting with some Vallejo model colour flat earth. This is a more yellowy brown, and when you use these two colours as your kind of base, a wash of Agrax really does work well. Sometimes you have to go back in and hit it again with the flat earth after the fact, but generally, again, just for, you know, gaming standard tabletop, I don't think we're going to need that. It's a really nice warm shade to the leather, and it comes out quite well once you hit it with the Agrax at the end of the tutorial. So I'll go around here. I'll also do a little bit of weathering on some of the flatter surfaces as well, because it is quite a flat colour. So we're going in now with silver, and we use Iron Breaker for this. And what I'm doing is I'm painting the outer casing of the chainsword, because I'm going to do the teeth on the chainsword black. So we do the whole outer casing of the chainsword, the kind of engine part, I don't know what you'd call that, above the handle, will be black, but the hilt itself is also silver. That's all one piece. And I'm going to paint the whole pistol in silver. It looks a little bit odd when you do the whole thing silver. It looks very kind of 1970s sci-fi, but we won't be leaving it like that, don't worry. But I'm just going to paint the whole thing silver. Remember, these techniques are for speed. So, Black Templar contrast. This is the step, I think, where it starts to take shape. So all the under armour, the sort of the rubber suit underneath, all the areas that you can see, so backs of the knees, inside of the elbows, we'll paint with Black Templar. I also put Black Templar on the soles of the boots and these little vents on the backpack. If I was putting more time into Space Marines, I put more time into the backpacks with more colours and metallics. Again, this is to get it on the tabletop. It's a speed painting technique, so we're not going to go too crazy. I'll now paint the casing of the pistol also in Black Templar and leaving the rest of it in silver. Creates a really nice effect. I'll get the teeth on the chainsword done in Black Templar. Because it's silver underneath, you kind of get an automatic highlight as well, and it works really, really well. Don't worry about any overspill. If you do, you can patch it up after the fact with your original colours. Just going over there, a little second coat where the blue's showing through. Now, this is the first time using Pro Acryl metallics. I've heard good things about these, and I wasn't disappointed. I'm using the rich gold to do the base colour gold around the shoulder pads. I always forget the underneath, don't forget the underneath. I'll also be doing the eagle emblem on the chests of the Ultramarines, and this just goes on really well. You have to thin it down, very minimal thinning, but flows off the brush really nice and is very opaque. Normally I'd be doing a couple of coats of metallics because they tend to separate quite a lot. I didn't have that problem with these, and I was very impressed. I look forward to using the other metallics from Pro Acrylic going forward. So now I'm just going to get some white ink, and I'm going to drop it into the eye sockets. Just make sure I get all the lens. Do remember that the shape of Space Marine lenses lends itself to painting them very well because of the shape of your brush. You've got a point on each end, so just turn the model and make sure you get your point into the side of each of the lenses. After that, I have just watered down some Mephiston red really, really thin, and I'm going to drop it in on the white, and I'll do both sides with that, and then I think I actually hit it back a second coat once they've dried, just to get that red effect in the lenses. And you'll notice now when I turn the model and go in for the second time on the first lens, the difference it makes rather than just hitting it once. You want quite a decent coverage of the red. Then we're just going to get some flesh wash over them metallics, create some shade before we start attacking it with highlights. So I'll be going over the emblem on the chest again and the gold rims around the shoulder pads. And from there, we will be moving on to highlights. So again, I'm going into Pro Acryl. It's the lighter gold, bright gold. Great gold to go over the original rich gold. Really stands out, really good highlight. Very, very happy with it. Loved every second of putting that on. Straight after the highlights on the gold, we give all the black and silver parts a quick wash of Nuln Oil just to dirty them up a little bit, make them look like used. We don't want them being too shiny and too new. So everything, including the sword, the gun, the belt buckle. And then I'm just touching up the hilt on the sword here, which I forgot to paint in gold. Massive schoolboy error, but we all do them. From there, I'm picking out the purity seal in a red, any red. In hindsight, I'd have probably gone a bit of a deeper red than this, but it worked fine once I'd washed it. Rakarth flesh to pick out the actual paper part of the purity seal. Rakarth flesh is a really versatile colour. I use it for multiple things. It's probably one of my most used paints in my collection. Some Agrax Earthshade over the leather areas on the traditionally painted leather. I think looking at the two together, I much prefer the finish on this way, although the contrast paint in the snakebite leather, the way I did the other one, is still nice, and both are acceptable. I just prefer the more traditional way. While I got the Agrax out, I give the purity seals a wash in the Agrax just to dirty them up a little bit and just refine the shadows. If I was going further with these, then I'd go back in and highlight them, but tabletop standard. With this technique, I just don't think it's worth it. And there they are, all finished, all three. Really nice tabletop standard, really happy with them. Highlights stand out. It's a really nice, recognisable ultramarines blue. Enough detail on there to break up the amount of blue that's on there, and then enough highlights, etc., and tones in the blue to break up that solid blue colour. Really happy with that. Think you could bash some of these out. This took me, these three, about 20 minutes start to finish. I'd probably do them in batches of 6 rather than 3. I'd probably pump it up to about half an hour. But yeah, really happy with it. So people, let me know what you thought of this method of painting ultramarines. For me, it's perfect. It's getting the marines ready to be on the tabletop to film battle reports and play some games, basically pick up the rules as best that I can. It's super quick, it's super easy, and I think the result is pretty good. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's anything you would do differently. Let me know if there's any other shortcuts that you want. Remember, this painting guide was not to create a golden demon winning paint job. It was to get a pretty sufficient paint job so that you can game on the table and your models will look cool. So please do let me know below. Also, if you want to support the channel, there's plenty of links for the social media links down there. And also, we do have a Patreon scheme running. And it wouldn't be possible to make these videos if it wasn't for our Patreon. So please, if you like the content and you want to support the channel, please do consider clicking the Patreon link and having a look at what we offer. That is it for this video, and I will see you in the next one. Hopefully doing some more painting tutorials to do with Indomitus and Imperium magazine, which will be pretty cool. Let me know what you'd like to see me paint. And I will see you in the next video. Keep washing your hands. See you soon.